Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rendezvous Photography, and I'm glad you're here. You know, it was a couple weeks before Christmas this last year. Probably the worst thing that we could even expect to happen. Not the worst thing, but it was bad for my wife and I because we lost our companion and friend that we've had for over 18, well, not over, but about 18 years, and we lost him. We lost our little Dachshund Schnitzel. He was a good dog, and he is sorely missed. And to make a long story shorter, kind of, my wife and I were miserable. No other way to put it. The house seemed so quiet, and he was always on our minds. So we suffered along for a week or so, but then one Saturday morning, found us in our car headed to Anchorage, and we had found a gentleman there who had Dachshund puppies for sale, Dachshund puppies, and so we thought, why not? It's Saturday. Let's drive into Anchorage and just look around. You know, we're just gonna look. That's all. Anyway, looking turned into a little more, and here we come home. About 2 hours later, probably, and at no surprise, I think, Becky was driving the car and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and on my lap was not one, but two Dachshund puppies. Now, how does that happen? You just never know. I never even, well, I didn't think it would happen, but it did. And so, yeah, now we're the owners of two Dachshund puppies, cute little puppies. They're sisters, and they were born in the same litter. And man, when we seen them, he had them in a little room there, and they were by themselves, and they just came running over to the little gate and looked up at us with those big old round eyes, and yeah, there was no turning back, actually. So yeah, we bought two little Dachshund puppies and brought them home. And life has never been the same since then, folks. They are a handful, but they're fun and they're loving and they're also curious and they're also like to get in trouble a little bit. But we're working with them and they're getting pretty good. They're potty trained, and well, when they want to be, they are. Sometimes they just don't feel like it, but you know how that goes. Anyway, so it's been just a miserable winter this year, and I haven't been out getting any pictures with my cameras or nothing, because it's like, folks, it's 25 to 30 below. We've just went through a streak of those temperatures, and this boy, he ain't going out in that. So I decided, well, I need to do something. So I decided I was going to shoot some portraits of these little puppies, and should be easy, right? Yeah, nothing to it, just shoot some pictures. Well, it wasn't easy, that's for sure. So I'm going to show you the pictures I took right now, and then when we come back, I will talk a little bit about how I took them and the trials and tribulations of the whole episode. I spent 3 days doing these pictures, took about 400 pictures, and the ones I'm going to show you here are about the only ones that turned out well. So anyway, before we go any further, yeah, let's take a look at these pictures, and we'll come back and talk about them here. All righty, here we go. Well, those were pretty nice, weren't they? I hope you enjoyed those. Like I said, I didn't have a very good success ratio. I think it was like 3%. Little Dachshund puppies are just hard to take pictures of. So I used my camera. I used was this my D200. I had the 80-200 lens on it that we talked about, I think, in my last video. It takes good pictures if you can keep up with your subject, which I had a heck of a time keeping up with him. Now I started out on the first night. I started out just using it with available light in our house. We have, big windows and there's light coming in, but I had to use a fast shutter speed to stop motion, and that meant high ISO and a wide aperture. Like I used f2.8 almost on all pictures that you saw here. And to be truthful, that lens and camera, the 80-200 and the Nikon D200 in low light, which it was on the floor, they weren't. It was kind of shady there, and you'll notice one of those little girls got a lot of black on her, so the camera would not pick that up to focus. It was just really hard to do, and you only have a third of a second usually to get focused before they're off and doing something else. So that was a struggle for me with a D200 and the 80-200 lens. Now, like I said, I used available light, and so I took, I don't know, quite a few pictures the first night, and I went back and put them on the computer and looked at them, and oh man, I had to underexpose them to get a good shutter speed, and they were dark, and so I worked with him, and I got a few keepers out of that. I think 3 or 4. I don't know, but I worked on those for an hour and got a few pictures. And so the next day I went out, brought the camera over to the house here from the studio, and I thought, I'm just going to try onboard flash. And I took several pictures of that, and as I was reviewing them on the camera, I noticed that of course they had red eye. Some on most of them, and so I thought, well, I think I got a feature here that is supposed to, with a flash that gives it a pre-flash, it gets rid of the red eye, and the D200 does have that. And so I tried that feature, and it probably worked, but the trouble is, it slowed down the process a whole lot. I mean, it's not instantaneous like it is on more modern cameras. It takes, I don't know, almost a second after I push the button, the shutter button for the shutter to release. And holy cow! I mean, they were nowhere around by the time the flash went off. And so I got a few pictures, but I didn't like them at all. They're real harsh and shadows and the red eye, and so I didn't take many that day. I put the camera back on the shelf, and I thought about it that night and came up with an idea. So the next day I went out, I brought into the house my camera and lens, plus I brought in this here flash unit that I have. I do portraits with it. So this is these are I have two Godox AD200 flashes here on this flash head, and the front is 2 bare bulbs that I got here. So, and I put it on a light stand, and I operated it from this unit right here. This is the controls of flash, a sense electronic signal here, and I can control the output of the flash here with these little controls right here. Anyway, I put that on, and raised. We have high ceilings in the house, so I put it on the light stand, and usually on this I have on this flash head, usually on this I have an umbrella or a softbox or something like that. I just used bare bulbs for these photos. Put it on the light stand, brought it in the house, and raised it real high. I mean, we got high ceilings. And son of a gun, that put out lots of light, and I thought I was going to do really good. And so I'm trying to get down on ground level, nearly ground level for these pictures, and with the way I'm built, and probably a lot to do with my age, I have a really hard time getting down low like that and seeing through the viewfinder. But I did it most of the time. But it slowed me down because I can't. My neck's got, problems. So anyway, I couldn't bend my head the right way. And so I got down there, and the flash was working beautifully, and I was down there, and the dogs that day, they were a little slow, weren't motivated, and they were really slow. And so here's some video, I'm going to show you here as I'm talking of me trying to take their pictures with this flash unit. But anyway, I spent about, maybe 45 minutes down there trying to coax them into doing things. And you know what? I did get some good pictures, and that's using a bounce flash like that. I didn't point the flash bulbs directly at my subject. I bounced them off our white ceiling. And folks, that's the way to do it if you can do it. And you can set up something like this fairly easy. You don't need what I have. You can just use if you have a remote flash or something, you can just set it up like that and just play with it. And because you don't know right away what your exposure is going to be, but you can play with it. If you're home, you got a lot of time to do that. So don't be afraid to do that. And it's kind of fun. Anyway, yeah, I took some pictures, and you saw them here. So a few of them came out really good, and there was a lot of blurry, out of focus pictures. A lot of frames with absolutely nothing in them but a floor, maybe a toy, and some of them were totally black. It was a real challenge to me, but I'm glad I did it, and it was fun. And I did get a couple nice pictures. So I did print one of these guys out, one of those pictures, and came out pretty good. And I'm going to show it to you here, and we'll give you the specs and stuff like that. But I decided to print out this one of both dogs together. That's the only shot I got of them together. They were just really didn't want to pose very well. But it's a nice picture. Now, this was taken with the D200. This is on Epson cold pressed natural paper, 13 by 19. The image itself is 12 by 18. That is, on the right is Peanuts, which I have started calling her Rowdy. And on the left there is Wendy. She's a sweetie, Wendy is. But the picture came out really good. This is one of the pictures that I had to shoot really dark. It's one of the first pictures I took. And I lightened it up about 3 stops. And so it came out pretty good, especially for this 10 megapixel D200. It came out really good. So this was taken with the Nikon D200. The lens was an 80-200 f2.8. Focal length, after figuring the crop sensor, was 157 millimeter. Shutter speed was 1/500th of a second. Aperture f2.8, and the ISO was 400 on this. Nice picture. It's a cute picture of those guys. I had to work hard for that picture. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. So that's my video for today. And I just wanted to encourage you to, try something like that. If you're home and it's winter time and you got your camera and you got a flash, or even if you don't have a flash, but if you got a pet, maybe any kind of pet, a cat, fish, dogs, whatever, guinea pig, try to make some portraits of them that it's a good way to increase your photography skills, and it's a good way to pass these long winter days. That's all I got now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed these pictures, and you'll be able to see them all in my Smug Mug gallery if you click on the link I'm going to put below, and you can go and see them at in a larger size. All these pictures, and I hope you enjoyed this. You guys have a good weekend or week or whatever it's going to be when you watch this video. If you watch the whole thing. But anyway, see you guys later, and keep out there and keep taking pictures and keep experimenting and trying new things. Alrighty, bye now.